Hello guys, what's up? How are you? How are you? And welcome back to Esiwakago YouTube channel, where we inspire, we encourage, and we also inform people. Today I have some type of moshene. I don't know how to brand this, but it's kind of hard. Yeah, you better sit back, relax, and have some popcorns, because this is gonna be not just the usual talk, but it's some debate that is heated. Oh my. So yeah, I don't know where to start or where to end it, but it is super hard. So sit back and just get yourself some popcorns, because some hot stuff is right about to drop. So yeah. Today I remembered something, and I just want to give to tell you something about my experience with Asponyo and Mubaba Fulani. By then, Wababas, they were not that much known. Sponsors. They were not that much known, and back then, to have a sponsor, Mubaba, it was a big scene. I still know it is a big scene up to date, but kind of like it, by the look of things, it looks like somehow very soon the government will legalize it, because you know what? People are doing it without even hiding. People are doing it without even minding. They don't even care. You can have a Mubaba, a sponsor, and still take them to your parents, and you don't care. But during our days when we were teenagers, we couldn't do such a thing. It was an abomination. I know it is up to date, but people are just acting like they don't care, but they know it's a sin, only that they do not want to care about it. And that is the generation of today. They do not care. But you know what? Back then, I was fresh from the village, and I came to Nairobi. I was hired as a house help. Yes, I worked in South B, I worked in Juja, I worked in where else? In Githurai 45, I worked as a butch, as a house girl for just 2 days, because that lady used to count how many chapati I cook so that I do not eat. So I said, you know what? This lady values her chapatis more than she values me. You know what? Let her chapatis work for her. And I left that work. So I moved to Juja. Then I was hired by a thief. And I know you have heard that story on my channel. I have talked about it. And then I was hired by another person, where was the last place I got hired as a house help. And from there, I went to Nairobi, Gumera, Nairobi. I went to Nairobi to look for greener pastures. You know, I came from the village to Nairobi as a house girl for green pastures. And then I moved from green to greener pastures, where I was supposed to be working on my own independently, and to have a house of my own, which didn't happen because I had to rent a house with 2 more girls, which is okay. I had roommates, and it was just 600 house, 600 shillings, Kenya shillings house. I couldn't still pay it by myself. So I got this job, and it was somewhere around the village market, the famous village market. And I got work, and this job was supposed to be a hotel job. It wasn't these lucrative hotels. It was just something that used to look like a kibanda, like I don't know what to call it. I don't know the English name for this, but it is these hotels that are built not so decent, but they're just built with iron sheets, and inside there are some tables just looking anyhow. But you know what? People are used to that. So the people who used to serve there, the people who used to come and eat there, they are people from the UN. That is, UN is around the village market, and they could only eat once, which was lunchtime. And after lunchtime, we could be left with washing the dishes, the sufurias and everything, cleaning up, and then we leave. So by 3 we were leaving to back home, and we could get a payment of 150 Kenya shillings. So there was this Mubaba Sponyo who used to be my boss, and after screening the Korora, so after looking at me, he thought, like, you know what, I think this girl, I can make her my wife. And he was married and he was with the kids, and every time during lunchtime he could call me and give me a bunch of thousands and send me to village market to go there and get him some change. You know what I mean by change, like loose money. So whenever he could send me, he could tell me, you know what, and he could whisper at me, all the people are there but nobody gonna hear. Or he could put a note, like a note, he could write down for me and put it inside the notes, the many notes, and tell me, just take 1,000 note and keep it for yourself. It's my lunch to you. And so he used to do this, and at some point I was like, why is he giving me money? Remember, I came from the village and to work as a house girl, and now this boss of mine is now right about to stop becoming my boss, and he's now starting to introduce himself to me as my Mubaba. And in me, I wasn't ready for it. For one, because I knew the wife, I knew he had a family, and I told him, because one day he told me right on my eyes, he told me, you know what, I want you to become my second wife. I want to marry you. He said, I want to marry you. And then I asked him, you have a family, you have a wife, you have kids? Yeah, he said, yeah, I do have them, but I want you to be my second wife. By then I was 19 years. I was 19 years turning 20. So I was like, oh no, I didn't see that coming. And I'm not ready to become a second wife. And again, I do not wish to die this young, because I know very well your wife will kill me, because your wife comes from Nyeri, I am from Nyeri, and I know the character of Nyeri. I know the blood of Nyeri. It might sometimes, if you tempt them too much, it might turn out not so good. So I was like, me, I come from Nyeri, but I'm one of those people who fear the most, because me, I fear so many things, and I fear for my life. And I told him, you know what, me, I cannot do this. And he was like, no, please, I'm not kind of like trying to marry you and hide you. No, I will come to your parents, I will introduce myself to them, I will take to them whatever they ask me to, and yeah, I'll do all that because I am in love with you. So I was like, oh my God. So ikifika hapa, what do we do? What am I supposed to do? So I was like, okay, and I started to dodge him. And one day he happened, one of the roommates that I used to stay with, and this is probably Joanne. This must be Joanne. Yeah. So I don't know how he traced where I lived. And one of these days, it was my off day, and I just heard someone knocking the door, and I was like, who is that? Because we do not usually have visitors. Because we had agreed, me and the other two girls, we had agreed nobody can bring any man in the house, and we do not want visitors. We just want to live by ourselves. If you want to meet someone, just meet them outside, wherever you guys agree to go to. And we also had an agreement that nobody can spend a night out without letting the others know, because we need to know where you are. We are your sister's keepers. And that was the rule. So this guy, he manages to find out where I was living. And when I opened the door, I was shocked because he had this big luggage, bags. That was before the paper bags were banned. He had them. He was carrying a lot of stuff, and they were my goodies, of course. And I opened the door. I was so shocked, and then I was like, who showed you where I live? And he was like, I just did my research. And I was like, are you for real? Could it be that you followed me one of these days and you found out where I got off the bus and where I entered? And he was like, that is not that doesn't have much to do with what is going on between me and you, because of course I had to find out where you live, because I am in love with you and I would want to take care of you. And now that I know where you live, that was a Mabati house. It was a house made of, it was ghetto. Yeah. And he was like, you know what, you ain't gonna continue living here. I'm gonna change this house for you. You're gonna go to a good, decent house. Oh my God. To cut the long story short, this dude was so much into me. And back then, Sponyo things were not even known. Nobody even knew about sponsors. Maybe there were people who knew about sponsors. I didn't know because I was just a fresh person. I was so innocent, and I decided, you know what, me, I don't want to die, because I was so sure this wife of his, because he's a little bit older than me, of course, because they even had children. So I was just a young person, naive, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna run away from this area, because if he keeps on pushing me this much, maybe I will end up becoming his wife. And I wasn't it wasn't my plan ever to become a second wife to someone. And again, I was very young to get married to a person of his age. He wasn't that much old, by the way. He was just like 40. I was 19, he was 40, so he was like double my age, or he was 38, around there, 37 to 40. So to me, I did this math of, now if he becomes my husband, how am I gonna even represent him to my parents? Because they're gonna see he's not my age, and it's gonna be, and me as me, I really hate things that can embarrass me. Up to date, I hate things that can embarrass me. And this one, I felt like I'll be embarrassed. So I ran away. I had to run away from him. And I moved from, by then I was living at Banana, Mushada to be specific. And I ran away. I want to be living at Githurai 44, Zimmerman, around that area. And that is how I escaped him. That is how I dodged him. And for life, so we didn't get to meet again. Up to date, we have never met. And do I have any regrets? No, I don't. Because I believe when you are young, you need to feel young. And if you get to a so much older person than you, they deny you the chance of being a youthful person, because they want you to behave according to their age, forgetting that he was also young and you didn't interfere with his age back then. So he should just give you the chance to be a youngster, the youngster you are, and a youth that you are. But most of them would want you to behave according to their age and forget about your age. So definitely, I do not have no regrets becoming his second wife. And by the way, by then he was building at Roaka. By now I could be a landlord, by the way, Musinyone Vivi. So I could be a landlord at Roaka town. And you know that area by now, yeah, it's gold. But you know what? I do not have any regrets, because maybe if I ended up with him, I couldn't be here in America today. That is why maybe God saw the sacrifice that I did. Running away from money is not easy. Guys, Have you ever had a person running away from money? Nowadays, they're even looking for it. They're even saying, I want a dude who is loaded, you know, and they don't have a thing. They just want a dude who is loaded, and they come with nothing, just the facial expressions and, you know what? Yeah, that is what they just want to bring in. So I ran away from him, and I have no regrets, and maybe God saw that I am never after money, and up to date, I'm not that type of a person who can be tricked with money. To me, money comes after. So we have to have a character that is human-like, and we have to have some other characteristics that can lead to me and you being together for life. If not, money cannot join us. So that's me. That is me. And that is the real me. That is one thing you guys maybe didn't know about me, but that is the real me. So yeah, and here I am, like so many years later, and I'm doing just fine. So sometimes the sacrifices that you make, they're not to lead you. It's not like you are losing anything. God will still make you to be where you supposed to be later on. The only thing that people forget is that you have to have patience, you have to have dignity, and you have to value yourself. Never value yourself with money, because people bring you money but will later on devalue you, disrespect you, because they know you are kept there by the money that they have. So yeah, I thank God I am here today, and I have a testimony to make. And I believe, Susan, you're gonna hear about this story. You know who I'm talking about, and you know how we laugh today when we remember that I could be a landlord in Ruaka, but you know what? I am still a landlord. So it doesn't make no difference. I thank God, and to God be all the glory, even for giving me wisdom. And may God give you wisdom to discern and to be able to know what you're supposed to do, and when you're supposed to flee, when you're supposed to take a flight, you know. Yeah, it is not all things presented to you that you're supposed to take in because they look so good. No, sometimes you have to have that discerning spirit and a discipline. You have to be disciplined. So yeah, I will come back with more about this later, what contributed to me being able to overcome, because that is something else you guys don't know about me, but maybe you have a clue about it. So guys, I will see you next in the next video, and may God keep you safe. Keep on keeping on, because in this year 2022 we are doing it so big and huge, because we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us. Bye bye guys.